Happy New Year! Due to this project taking way longer than I thought it would, and New Year's Eve, this video is going to come out a week late. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make coins. Old-fashioned looking coins. Step 1 is to make a mold. To make the mold, first you need to pick the size of your coins. I'm going to make 3 different coins: a copper, a silver, and a gold. For the copper, I went for 2 centimeters, I think. 3 for the silver and 4 for the gold. In hindsight, I should have made the silver and gold only half a centimeter bigger per coin. You start by doing 2 circles for each, a front and a back. Then you're going to measure the inside and decide how much smaller you would like the lip. Yeah, that made no sense. How big you would like the lip to be. And then mark a circle that is that much smaller on the cardboard. And I am using cardboard, like you would get from a cereal box. Then you're going to go cut them out. Now, I was originally going to use the X-acto blade at this point, but I ended up using scissors because I didn't realize that my X-acto blade knife start point thing was dull. So that didn't work. I didn't actually figure that out till much later. So that was the coins. I'm going to do pictures. I'm going to do a tree on the back of all the coins. And on the front, I'm going to do an acorn on the copper, a maple-ish looking leaf on the silver, and a crown on the gold. You start by tracing that inside the smaller circles. Make sure you don't touch the edges with your sketch or you will not be able to cut it out. Then take the X-acto blade and cut it out. As you can see, this is where I realized my blade was dull when I tried to cut out the little pieces and had to change it. And now it works. Yay! Alright, so there's the first 2. And then you're going to take that, and because I wanted multiple layers of details, so I traced out the top part of my tree and the top part of my acorn to make them look like they were curved and stuck out more. Looked really cool. Then of course you're going to go and cut it out again. Which took a while. Ta-da! One and the other. They're gonna go on like that. And then I did the maple leaf. And sketch it out. Same as before. I chose to do the raised part in the center on a separate layer. Or cut out a raised part for the veins of the leaf, which also came out really cool, and a line across the bottom of the crown. You can probably see there. And then to stick them together, I used some Mod Podge. This is the gloss luster, I think. And you're gonna stick it on like that. You're gonna puts it on the layer, the bottom layer, which is the plain cardboard. Then with the layer of detail that has the least stuff on it, you're going to put next, and then you're going to put the one with the most cuts on it on top. And then to make sure that the dough that I made the coins out of didn't stick really bad, I coated the whole thing on front and in the back with Mod Podge. I actually got them wet, and they only got a little damaged on the edges, so yay, it worked for that too. Okay, this is step 2, making the dough, and this is a day later. Day 2. You need a cup of flour, a half cup of salt, and a half cup of water. I mixed the flour and the salt together first, and then poured in the water. like baking. You mix the dry ingredients first. And half cup of water. Then you mix that together. When it starts to when it starts to stick together, you get flour in your hands. Make sure you put the flour in your hands. And then you knead the dough together. I ended up adding a little bit more flour because it was too sticky. And I got more flour to roll them in before I put them in the press. So you roll a little ball of dough, about the size of the inner circle. And then you coat it in flour, and then you tap both sides of your mold in flour and knock them against the edge to dump out the excess, otherwise you're not going to get your full pattern out. You put the ball of dough in between the two, make sure the top side's up on both, and press. I didn't make the top side up on both on one of the coins, and I had to redo it, which took forever. And you got a coin. Now when I was baking these, I couldn't figure out what temperature to bake the dough at. So I started it with 330 and burnt the first batch, and most of those went in the garbage. For the second batch, I put them at 250 and they started to puff up a little. So I cooled it down to 200 and I did it on 10-minute intervals, and then I would open the oven and let it sit for 5 minutes and then do another 10 minutes like that. And I did that for like 3 or 4 hours, and finally they were mostly hard but still soft, and so I ended up letting them sit overnight, and then they were nice and hard the next morning. And I do the same thing with the big coins. You make big balls instead of little ones. Coat them in flour, coat both sides of the mold in flour, press them into the coin. I really hope I didn't leave the whole part of this in there. I'm not cutting it now anyways, it doesn't matter. And apparently I did. Okay. No, I didn't, yay. Okay, for the paint, I have metallic paints, so I took copper and black in equal measures and mixed them together, and I thought it looked dirty penny colored. Ever seen a dirty penny? That's the color you want. You want to wipe a bunch of it off your brush so that you don't fill in all the cracks, or you're not going to get any details on the coin, and then you wasted your time with the mold. So I painted the whole thing out on one side, and then I did a second coin on one side. Actually, I think I did 5 coins on one side. Then I flipped them over and they're all dry. The first one's dry at this point, so I did the back of that one and then worked my way down the 5 on the row again. And then I painted the edges and worked my way down the row again. And I didn't paint the last coin on the edges because I ran out of paint and I didn't want to mix more. So then I took the light copper, nothing added, just plain copper, and I dry brushed it on. So basically you're going to tap a little bit of paint onto your brush, wipe it around on your paper plate till it's almost all the way off, and then lightly brush it over the top of your coin. And it makes it look really, really, really cool. But make sure there's a really big difference in the colors. It has to be dark and light. I didn't make it silver dark enough, and the coins look flat. They don't look cool at all. So I did the same thing. I went down, first the top, then I flipped them over and did the backs on all the coins, and then I did them again, doing the edges. And there. Copper. And then with the silver, I didn't add 50-50. Or maybe I did. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I added about 1/3 black and 2/3 silver. It has to be 50-50. Don't do what I did. And I did that for the silver coins, which look pretty cool, but not as cool as the gold and the copper. I thought they came out looking like they came from Pirates of the Caribbean or something. Have you ever seen the gold coins in that? And I did the same thing. I ended up doing one side of all the coins going, like so. Now for these, when I did the paint, because at that point I ran out of, I lost my video. I ran out of room. Didn't realize. So then for this is to seal them. You don't have to do this. I did it because I was worried I might get them a little wet or something, and I didn't want the paint to come off or them to grow mold, because that happened once to me. I don't know why. And so I laid them all out, every single one of the coins in this size, and then I painted them all because Mod Pit takes forever to dry. So I would do all of the coins on one side, and I wanted a nice thin coat, like a little white film. I think I showed you an up-close version of one of the coins. And here's what they looked like. See? Came out really cool. It's the tree, the acorn. In hindsight, I should have had the tree be the one side facing down when I cooked them, not the symbol, but next batch, I know better. And the gold, see? It looks like it came from Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Anyway, thanks for watching.